matter. I wanted to know if you have questions from previous discussions on the mind-body problem and the focus on idealism. We discussed extensively. The video lecture on that is available to you for your revision. We looked at sources last week, the source of the problem, I mean, mind and body, how various thinkers have responded to it. And then I think we focused a little bit more on idealism. But let me know what your reading of vocationalism, pre-established harmony, double aspect theory, etc., led you to. What did you see in your reading? Kindly keep your hand up if you want to. Okay. Keep your hands up, please, if you want to. I've seen only one hand. I want more hands. I asked the whole class to read, please. It's part of our assessment and our learning process. So kindly keep your hand up if you read something. Where is the rest of the class? We'll give some few minutes and I'll take attendance. Okay. My communication said the class, whether online or in person, is compulsory. Otherwise, I'll stop circulating the recording. Even if I don't, attendance is compulsory. 3 absent from a session means you cannot take an exam in the paper. You will have to resit. That's what that's what Bible says. That's what our school statutes say. You can't be absent for 3 consecutive sessions. Even that was when we had 12 weeks. We don't have 12 weeks. Absent, okay? So kindly tell your friends. I currently see 75 attendees. You are more than that. More than double of that. Okay, a little over 200 students for city campus. So this is not good enough. And I will make the attendance count. Tell your friends. All right. So let's take your readings on occasionalism. Shem, what did you read? Shemofori Ejepon, I think.
Yes, madam. Occasionalism by Branch.
Yes.
I saw that he said that everything that we do, if you raise up your hand, and which is the body action, and then yet you think about it with your mind, even though it is done at the same time. He said that it is God that makes such action through, that it is not your mind that is making such an action. It is not your mind that is sending an impulse to your brain and whatever. It is God that does it, and not your mind. That's what I learned.
Okay, that's a very good attempt. 60 over 100. But why the name occasionalism? Why not Godism or something? Okay, so let's see if we can get 1 or 2 additions. But it's a very good attempt. Thank you. Armstrong, Odro, can you add to what you read about occasionalism?
Yes, please, madam. I read about occasionalism as a substance that cannot be efficient cause of events, but all events are caused directly by God. So that is what I read about occasionalism.
Okay, can you explain that just a little bit so those of us who don't understand can get some clarity from you? All events are caused by God. Okay, how? Yeah. Remember
so
what the question is. The question is, just a minute, please, sorry. So the question we are engaging is how it is that 2 supposedly distinct realities, that is 2 essentially distinct realities, that's the supposition that there are 2 essentially distinct realities, yet causally connected. These realities are mind and body, or mind and matter. The question then that confronts us is, how is it that such 2 essentially distinct realities are still able to causally affect each other? In other words, how is it that mental states, which are supposed to be distinct from physical states or bodily states, how are they able to causally affect physical states? And how is it that physical states are able to causally affect mental state. So the emphasis is cause and effect, bringing about, not just inspiring or shifting. Mental state shifting physical state, or inspiring it or affecting it. Not just affection, but causal connection. What is it? How is it that that is possible? And then we saw some of the responses. And I was asking about the occasionalism view. So if you say that the gentleman, Mali branch, is a French word, so the French people are better able to pronounce it for us. But I think that we will pronounce it the way we can spell easily. If he says that he is responding to the problem by proposing the theory or the thesis of vocationalism, what does that mean? How does that respond to the problem? Okay. So add a little bit more, if you don't mind saying.
Okay. So Nicholas Maliblack is trying to emphasize that anything that is caused by like our actions are all caused directly by God. So we, the mind and then the body, does not have any effect. It is God who caused us to become. So for instance, if you have some feelings on our hands, maybe if we touch something here, it is God who caused it directly.
So I pinched you and you feel pain. I pinched you physically on your skin, but you feel pain, which is supposedly mental. Explain that. Very good. Explain it.
Okay. So it is God who caused that feelings directly. So that is what Nicholas Blanche is trying to emphasize here about vocationalism.
Okay. Emphasize. So the point then from our friend, I think that all of you have done well with that response, is that there may not necessarily be any causal connection between the pinching, physical pinch that I gave your skin, and the pain you feel. It's not physical state or bodily state causing mental state. It's not that. Causality, cause is originated from God, or God is the one that is causing. So on the occasion of the pinching, that's why it is called occasionalism. On the occasion that I pinched you, then God made you feel pain. That is why it is possible for someone not to feel that pain when he or she is also pinched. You give a flower to a lady on her birthday, some lady, okay? And as soon as her eye sees the rose flower, according to the occasionalism doctrine, by implication, then as soon as she sees it, God causes the feeling, if you like, the mental state that she has. So if God puts joy in her at the time that she saw the flower, then she will feel joyous or happy. But if God puts anger there, then she will feel angry and throw the flower at you. Is this what you could get me on my birthday? And throw it at you. So that there isn't anything in the flower, the physical thing, so to speak, the bodily object, which is causing the mental state. It is the ultimate cause of all things, God, that makes you receive that kind of, if you like, mental state. That's how I can simplify it for you. And you should be able to do something around what I've done in your own way to make the theory come alive for people to appreciate it. Okay, class. So I will ask you those things. Very good. That was good for occasionalism. Well done. Full reading. That's all I want. How about pre-established harmony? If you spare your guys on there, they're doing well again. I'm even shocked. Pre-established harmony. Let's hear from anyone who read on pre-established harmony. I see two hands that I don't want to call yet. I see Gifty, I see Jude. I want more hands. Those who read it. 88 now. Good. Tell them to enter the class before I take my attendance, because I will, and it will count. Okay. I see 3 hands now. Folks, quick. Pre-established harmony. Keep going. Shem did a good job. There was an earlier respondent. He also did well. Let's hear from Bryce. Bryce Techi Mensa. Oh, your hand went down. Olivia Ohimi. Olivia, what's pre-established harmony as a response to the mind-body problem? Oh, we are not going to do the substantive work, so don't let us spend too much time on
Okay, madam.
this. Yeah. Go.
Please, I read that according to the name, according to a pre-established harmony by Leb,
I, EI is I, like Einstein. Okay, I. Pronounce it
okay,
as if it's LAI. So Leibniz. Yeah. Continue.
Leibniz, okay.
Yeah.
He said, from the moment of creation, God has coordinated our bodies and minds in such a way that they appear to causally interact.
Oh, what can I you? But you said it nicely, but I'm looking for one word. So, well, continue. Let's see if it will come. God has already coordinated. Yeah.
He said that, for instance, when the moment I form an intention to move my leg to hit something, my leg moves on its own. So all human actions are predetermined from the beginning.
That's the word
creation.
I'm looking for. Well done. The supposed cause and effect connection between mind state and body state, according to this view, is already pre-arranged. It's already established by God. This theory also mentions God. So the reason why when we put mental state and physical state, I was going to talk about a seed growing, but those won't be a mental state and a physical. So the reason why when I slap you, you cry, or when I slap you, you frown, or when I tell you something bad physically, you express that mental state, positive or negative, according to this view, is because it's already arranged to be so. Just like the hour hand on the clock and the minute hand on the clock. When the two rests on the 12 point up there, you hear gling, gling, gling. Okay, it's already arranged. It is not something that one that brings about the other. They happen at the same time. So it's a pre-established harmony. A slap comes with supposedly what? Pain, whilst a compliment comes with a smile. They come in a package together. You know how you can critique that also. There are criticisms, even at our level that we can raise. Why is it that some people get a slap and they laugh? They say, hey, no, am I the one who slap like that? But he didn't cry. Some will grin, some will ignore. So if it's a pre-established harmony, should be reaction all the time. Like when your leg hits a table, you feel pain. But some people also hit their leg against the table. Do they feel pain? When the woman cooking the kenke pulls the firewood, like I mentioned the last time in our interaction, live charcoal, she's picking the and arranging them, and she's not feeling pain. If it's pre-established harmony, then just like you and I, when we join the queue to get that food, how we feel the pain, he or she should also feel that pain. Okay, so we have questions that we want to ask. Maybe you want to interrogate it a bit more and defend Leibniz on that. Okay, but that is the response given to the supposed possible, how it is that it is possible for two distinct realities, mind and matter, to be causally connected. We saw idealism. We are going to dwell a bit more on that. Double aspect theory, quickly. Someone say it. You give all the answers. Double aspect, quick. Oh, friends, keep your hand up. Take record.
So,
Yes, my dear.
okay, so the double aspect theory.
Oh, Gifty, I don't want to call you. Hold on. Gifty, I don't want to call you. Let others talk a little. They know you will save them, so they don't come prepared. They know that when I say, Gifty will raise their hand. So today they are on them. You're 92 now. Tell them I'm waiting. Grace Apeka. Lady Grace, answer for me, okay?
Yes, Madam Nancy, Doctor. It says that the mental and the physical are two as their own.
There are two aspects of what? I missed that part.
The mental and the physical.
Yes.
Are two aspects on their own.
Okay, two aspects of what?
Two aspects of perspectives.
Auntie Grace, you matter. Thank you, Grace. Let me take a little addition.
It can also be it can also be known as the dual aspect monism.
You matter. Let's hear some addition from others. Okay, you really read wide. That's good. Let's hear your colleagues. I like the mention of double aspect. Jude, let me hear you now.
Hello, Doc.
Yes, sir, I can hear you. Go ahead.
Okay, Doc. Double aspect theory proposed that the mental and the body are two different aspects or different attributes of one existing substance. So let me say the mind and the body are two different aspects of the human individual. So let me say the mental state and the material state makes up the human being as a whole.
Jude, I got distracted. I'm gonna be here will not give me peace of mind. But if you could just respectfully go over again, I'll hear you this time. Forgive me.
Doc, please, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you now. I can.
Okay, Doc. This is a theory proposed by Bennett de Spinoza. He said what the mental and the body, the mental state and the body state, the mental state and the body state are two different aspects or attributes of the same existing reality. So let me say the mental state and the material state just makes up one existing individual or one existing human nature. Let's check or what's up.
Great. So they are aspects of the same ultimate reality, which is unknown to us. So there may be several aspects, but these are two aspects of some unknown reality, so to speak. Any other addition? Thank you so much, Jude. Thank you. 50.
Doc, I have a question.
Oh, yours is a question.
My question is with.
Oh, sorry. I thought you were responding. Sorry.
Yeah. I've also wanted to respond, but then I want to chip in before we take it from here.
Okay, go ahead.
My question is with idealism.
Oh, we are going to engage it fully right after this.
Oh.
Yes, our next topic is idealism fully. We will continue with that. So you ask it, and then let me take a note, make a note of it until we engage fully on that. Yeah.
With interactionism by Descartes, we could criticize it by saying that he couldn't actually point or satisfy the response by telling us how they are causally connected as a mind and the body. He could only show us what as a pineal gland, and that's why it even led to vocationalism.
Yeah, that's why we say he hasn't responded to the problem. Yes.
Yeah, but with idealism, I realized last week you said that if we deal with idealism as a response to the mind-body problem, we won't find any problem. Does it mean we cannot criticize idealism in any way?
Please raise the critique you have, if we have one.
I haven't thought of it. I'm just asking you.
No, the critique, I think that one but I don't want to be criticizing. It looks like you are just telling students what you have discovered. It doesn't help them to think too much about matters. But what I think we can together agree on is that if you say everything is ultimately mind, we have a challenge. I'm writing with a pen on the table. Is a pen a substance or not? You see?
Madam, hello, Doc.
And a chalk, you know that. And the door, you sit in your car when you are going home. I mean, if you say it is ultimately an idea, yate, but the car that is moving, is it an idea? So maybe it might have originated from a mind, which is why you say it is ultimately mind or ideas. That's the idealist view. We still have a challenge that can't we have another substance? That is the strength of Descartes' dualism, okay, metaphysical dualism that we have engaged. Don't we have another substance which is totally opposite to the mind? I mean, you can arrest my body, you can't arrest my thoughts, my mind. So we can tell a friend saying, the idealists, a critique you can raise is, it seems to be oversimplification if you reduce everything ultimately to mind. I think their strength still will be that they said ultimately. So we can admit that there are cars, physical car, food, this, whatever, material substance, but they are not real, ultimately speaking. And then we are back where we started. Okay. However, in reference to the mind-body problem, an idealist view, like we have said already, would render the contention null and void. There won't be two people fighting. If the man and the woman are always in the room and they are fighting and fighting and fighting, and they get divorced, God forbid, when one is living alone, who is he or she going to fight again? There wouldn't be a fight because now he's alone. We don't propose that, but then there won't be a fight. So idealists say the ultimate reality is one. They are a monist view, the same as the materialist. Ultimate reality is one, matter. Then it means that this particular problem of how they are causally connected doesn't come up at all because there aren't two realities. There's ultimately just one. So we don't have to find out how one causally affects the other, and so on and so forth. Okay, that would be my reaction to your question. All right. Friends, how about materialism? Anybody read on that? I see just
hello, Doc.
Ophelia, answer that. Then we can come back to Jude. Ophelia, go ahead.
Okay, I read that when it comes to materialism, the view of all facts are causally dependent on physical processes.
Okay, so I think this materialism by Hobbes, I could even extract it. Okay, but the emphasis was those who reduce ultimate reality to what? Matter. So they are also monists, like idealists. But they would say the ultimate reality is not anything non-physical. It is something what physical. Ultimately, everything is body. There's nothing beyond the physical body. When human beings die, there is nothing beyond the physical. All things are ultimately physical. So, so that was what I think I was focusing on. I don't know how come this one has come. How about the functional? Thank you, my dear Ophelia. How about the functionalists and the disposition theorists? I think you've done well. So far, the class has done well. Let's see if we get alternate hands. Oh, you see, when I say you've done well, now only one hand is up. Nobody read on the functionalist theory. I'll give that to you as an assignment right now and collect it in 15 minutes time. People, nobody read on the functionalist. The word function. Look at function. Only give T. You answer it on Sakai.
Yes.
Please go ahead. Anyone, so that others can benefit. If you read it, just put your hand up. let them benefit. So far, your friends have been good. Barbara Donko, I'm strong. Anybody? Okay, Gipsy, please help your colleagues.
Doc, upon my the functionalist I was finding was all about sociology. It had nothing to do with philosophy.
Yeah, but people went to Google. People went to Google functionalist. You read things plenty. You should read a functionalist response to mind-body problem. Yes, because we have a specific question. Those who believe that, yes, please.
Yeah, the functionalist theory it seems so confusing. Like,
am I
seems so
speaking
confusing to me. That's why I decide not to.
But that's why there is a discussion. You should say it so that I can help your confusion to get clearer. Okay. So say what you read so that I can put some clarity to it for you. Quick, guys. Was it Jude?
Yeah, my dog.
Jude, go ahead. Tell me what you read on the functionalist view or disposition theorist on the mind-body problem.
Doc.
Yes, sir.
Doc, the functionalist says what? Like all the causal connection between the mind and matter is just the function of the mental state.
Very good. That's very good. Say it again because some people were not listening.
Doc, the functionalist says the causation between the material state and the mental state is just the function of the mental state.
Okay, so to help you put it in a very accessible mode, they also do not think that we should be thinking of two substances, two supposed entities, realities, substance, reality. They are concerned about the use of substance when we are trying to explain mind and body and how they are causally connected. They think it is problematic. One may just be a function of the other. So when I say I am in pain, I'm expressing a state of being, a disposition. I'm disposed to pain or a function. Just like if you say that the test reference I gave you has quite some nice examples. It is just a description of something. So the entity need not necessarily be two. The entity is one, okay? But the entity has a disposition.
It's just a function of the mind.
It's a function. So it's something that mind does or matter does, depending on which functionalist you are reading. You see that?
I think I will agree with that. Because let's say
no.
You are
yes, I can hear you. Go ahead.
A stroke patient, you understand? You see, people with stroke, sometimes you will touch them and they will know. It's because their system stop responding to stimulus. That is why. So yeah.
So that is how some have explained. Hey, you ready? That's how some have explained. I'll have to mute all. Then if someone has to talk, then the person speaks. Something is really giving me feedback here. 107, not good enough. We have done 30 minutes already. Okay, so the functionalist, if you want to label them as such, I just say there's a function of, one is a function of the other. So you may think of mental state as a function of the physical, or a disposition. We are disposed to feeling pain. I mean, if you hit a stone will not cry. A stone will not be angry. Remember Ortega. A stone doesn't have any ambition. So a stone will not steal to be rich, to get the best girls. A stone will not rape someone. It's indisposed to such states of being. But human beings have that disposition. And they want to say that, so you shouldn't think of human beings as another entity. as having another entity apart from what they are. It's just a state of being, a disposition they have or a function. That's how I can simplify it. All right. So if you got that, then now we can do RAL. I want all hands up for category mistake. What RAL calls a category. RAL also says the folks are making a category mistake. It tells those who hold on to the official doctrine, Descartes' mind-body problem or mind-body distinction problem. He says they are committing an error of reasoning. He's an analytic thinker, so he approaches the concept analytically. He says they are committing an error, and it is a category mistake. It's a linguistic problem. The mind-body problem shouldn't even come up at all if people were speaking right. Now build on that. Let me know what Rawls' view is in reaction to the mind-body problem. Devlin, Amega, you have a response? When I call you, it's an advantage I've given you. That's something I don't want to call some people. Armstrong, Udro, AJ, Deborah, you're all there. Any one of you can unmute and give a response to the category mistake. If no one reacts, we'll keep it there for your general research and come and answer when you are asked to. Then we can move on to today's content proper. Quick, friends. Anybody?
Yes, Doc.
If I won't let you respond to this one, I beg. Anyone, apart from Gifty? Okay, I see two.
Doc, there's
Grace.
that.
Yes, I just saw Grace. Grace, go ahead. Oh, okay, that was Jude too. Grace, go ahead.
Madam, please. I don't really understand that.
I don't expect you to understand everything, so don't worry about that. Don't issue a disclaimer. Some won't even raise their hand. So you say what you read, and it's okay. If it's not perfect, we will polish it up. But I'll show you that, oh, it would have been 50%. Oh, this is not correct at all. Then we move on. Don't worry at all. Okay, so go ahead.
Madam, the which is also known as the category concept, used to describe a statement in which the speaker presents concepts from one category and its belief in another.
That is the mistake itself. That's the label. Just like a certain fallacy. Fallacies have names. So we can say, oh, you are committing a fallacy of hypothetical syllogism. Excuse me. You are committing a fallacy of affirming the consequence instead of affirming the so or false hypothetical syllogism, etc. Okay. So category mistake is a label for a certain kind of error in reasoning. What I'm asking though is, why does Gilbert Ryle accuse Descartes and his folks who believe in metaphysical dualism? Why does he accuse them of what? Committing a category mistake. What does he find wrong with the view, such that he says the view itself is committing a category mistake, and that is why it makes it look as if there's a problem, a philosophical problem of mind and body. But that if we were speaking well, the problem wouldn't be there. Okay, Grace. Your hand is still up, that's why I called you. Did you Google Ryle's response to the mind-body problem? How did you search? How did you search for a response to that? Everybody. Madam,
I just the sorry mistake in philosophy.
Okay, so just everyone go and Google Gilbert Ryle's response to Descartes' mind-body problem. Google that.
Yes, ma'am.
And then you will write a paragraph of not more than 600 words on that, giving illustrations.
Yes, madam.
Listen. Giving illustrations. I will not repeat it. I'll just open submission. I will not repeat the question in there. submission. So those who have to think about what they want to write. The question is what I'm giving in class. It is for everyone to Google and read on Gilbert Ryles's response to the mind-body problem of Descartes. Okay, in not more than 600 words, and submit by morning.
Tomorrow morning.
Yes, by morning. So I'll open at 6 p.m. By morning 7, 8, thereby it should be done. I don't want it to be immediately because I want us to use our time. Okay, to use our time for the class. And then you may have lectures in the course of the day. So we can't be that harsh. So you have the whole period till 6 p.m. or 7 when all your lectures are done. Then you can do that Googling. It's just a paragraph. It's something I wanted you to read on and have response that can guide you. But you haven't read on that, or perhaps you didn't read well. So I want to give you some time to do that. Then you respond and I'll reward it with 10 marks. Okay, so I'll open for submission. Assignment 1 submission, that's all I'll put there. And it will close by morning. Let's continue.
Okay.
Any questions? All right, so we can move on quickly. Any questions on this one, monism? I think it's clear now, so we can move on. Rationalists, empiricists, all these ones, we did them the last time. So the two views, please do recall this slide. I think we did that, so we can continue. I think there's no question. There are two views of idealism. In other words, two ways of conceiving of idealism. I want someone to read this quickly. We'll finish this set of slides, hopefully today, without rushing, but we'll finish it. Guys, read it for me, please, quick. If you put your name, it will help, so that I don't have to be 1089, 3628. Okay. Go ahead. Vice Chimensa, go ahead. This is the second time I've called you.
Okay.
Read it, please.
Hello. Yes, madam. And my network is bad, so I can't.
I can't hear what you said, sir. What did you say, sir?
Okay. Two views of.
Two views of what? Read,
two views
sir.
of
Read.
idealism. Subjective idealism. Things, I guess, exist apart from our perception, sensing of them. Even if we did not exist to perceive them, called Plato. Why is he considered objective idealist?
Thank you very much. The name is Plato. Okay, the name is Plato. I don't want you to say Plato. Okay, I'm talking to the whole class because you've done philosophy. Let those who haven't done it mention their name that way. Socrates or Socrates, not Socrates. When someone says Socrates, we know the person is not a philosophically treated person, which is okay. But you have. So you know Leibniz, you know Aristotle. You should pronounce their names well. Okay, we want to describe John Locke with a certain label for a reason. The label is, we want to think of him as an objective idealist. Okay, whilst we describe, on the screen now, you should be looking, whilst we describe George Berkeley, Bishop, as what? A subjective idealist. Now, remember what we said idealism is. Quick review that should help. Oh. What is idealism?
Hello, Doc.
Go ahead, sir. Is it Jude?
Doc,
Go ahead. Any one of you, Jude or Gifty, and Grace, any one of you. Yeah.
okay, so we said idealism is a monist metaphysical view of reality that denies matter as opposed to mind.
Excellent. That's correct. So it is an epistemological view. Excuse me. It's a metaphysical view. And it's a monist one. So you understand why it's monist. We won't go over that. Which claims that what ultimately exists is what? Mind and ideas. Since ideas are also mind or mental, you can just leave it as what ultimately exists is mind. Now we are saying that there are two views or perspectives to that. There is the objective idealists and then the subjective ideal. These are labels. So we want to understand why we label them as such. Okay. When you are an objective idealist, remember who an idealist is. The idealist says what exists is what? Mind and ideas. It means if you are an idealist proper, you're a consistent one, you can't at the same time claim that reality is material or matter. You will always maintain that reality, what is real, is ultimately ideas, non-physical substance. In other words, mind. Those that we want to label as objective idealists are those that say things. Things here referring to what? Ideas, because they're idealists. So ideas exist apart from our perception of them. Things exist apart from our independently. Apart from here is independent. So things exist even if we haven't sensed them. Things. They will say that things will continue to exist even if we do not exist to perceive them. That's the objective idealist view. Keep it very well as we unravel and open out the intricacies thereof. Since I finish up by reading the subjective idealist view, the name associated with that is George Berkeley. Please read.
Subjective idealist is Berkeley. Things, ideas depend on perception for their existence. If it is not perceived thing, then it cannot be. That is exist. They would cease to exist. All perceivers cease to exist. To be is to be. Then to be is to be perceived.
Well done. Well done. So the subjective idealist, on the other hand, says things depend on perception for their existence. What is perception? Seeing, hearing, touching, tasting, smelling. So if I'm not seeing it, I'm not hearing it, I'm not tasting, touching, smelling, I here referring to any mind at all, any human being at all. If the thing is not seen, it's not being seen, it's not being heard, etc., or it's not seeable, hearable, tasteable, then it cannot exist. The subjectivism associated with this idealist view is that I, the subject, my seeing of the table, supposedly, is that which makes it a surety that the table, what, exists. How will we say that anything exists if there is no perceiver to it? The point is, if there is no perceiver, how will ideas, remember who idealists are, how will ideas be? How will we encounter ideas? The idea of a table, the idea of a chair, the thoughts of a designer clothing, that design of a Bugatti. How will it exist? The idea, the thing here is that an idea, remember the idealists, they're not talking materialists or physicalists, the idealists. So for them, the reality, the thing proper is an idea. Last week, I gave you several instances so I can relate to it when I'm expanding. Someone wants to do a nice wedding gown for you, for your wedding. Someone wants to design a nice hairstyle or a new brand of a car or armory that can destroy a certain nation overnight. The idea is that which is real, says Idealism. For out of it will emanate what? The thing, the physical material thing. So the material thing for the idealist is not the reality. The real thing is what I have conceived as what? An idea. That is what is so real, which is going to be what? Manufactured and constructed into actuality. So if I want to build a high-rise building, say in Dubai, where people will come and, holidays will come and have fun, I'm creating it. I create it in my mind. That idea is what is real. So the idealist. Now we say the subjective idealist argues that we cannot have anything that is real. The thing here is what? Idea, substance. Any reality cannot be if there is no mind inside which the idea will be conceived. I hope that clarifies. You see how I simplified it? So when you are reading all the technicalities, it's simple. There must be a mind that is conceiving the idea, because the reality, which is an idea of a table, of a chair, of a woman, the idea of a man that somebody wants to have, an ideal guy, I want a guy that is like this and like that, and this and this and does this. You have to create it. That reality is in the mind. And mind must be before the conception of an idea of reality can be meaningful. So look at what a subjective ideal is like. George Berkeley says, what is what is what? Perceived. To be is to be perceived. If the thing is not perceived, sensed, sense perception here is what? Sensory, sensing, perception. Okay? If the thing is not perceived, you can't say it exists. If you are an idealist, there must be a mind within which that thing, which is an idea, really speaking, would exist. Any questions? Remember, we are doing some metaphysics. So it is not a straightforward thing like that. So I'll take my time and help you. Compare that to the objective idealist at the top there, who we may have issues with when we want to look at his view within the frame of idealism. The objective idealist says things which are ideas really exist things which are ideas exist apart from our perception of them. The things can exist independently of our perception of them. Things will continue to exist even if we did not exist to perceive them. Maybe I wasn't there, that's fine. But was there no mind at all to see it, to perceive it, to smell it, to taste it? Then how do we establish that any such thing exists? When things for us are actually what? Non-mental, non-material. Things are ideas. If you say, I haven't perceived it, at least another mind should perceive it. If another mind perceives it, that mind will sustain it. That mind will sustain the things what? Existence. But I have not seen it. You have not seen it. No human mind, in other words, no consciousness can engage that thing. How can we say it exists and still be idealist? Then we'll have to give away the idealist position and find some materialist view or some other view to subscribe to. But if we still think that idealism is a defensible view, blah, 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 then to be a consistent idealist, we don't understand how our friend John Locke still wants to make reality exist independently of a knowing mind, a mind that knows it. He makes that case, that things can continue to exist even if we did not exist to perceive them, even if there were no human beings, so to speak, to exist to perceive them. Remember the question I asked you the last time? It was at the end of our lecture. Let's see if I can trace it quickly. Can there be, if you read it the last time, can a tree fall, where is it? Read it again for me, please. Let me ask Devlin. Devlin Omega, please read for me.
From Locke's perspective, do you see why a tree falling over on a desert island can make no sound and have no color or taste? Secondary qualities, though it must have size, shape, and motion.
Okay,
primary
and
quality.
we say, yes, please, and we say Berkeley will not agree. I want you to see what is happening there. They are supposedly defending an idealist view that reality, that's metaphysics, and what ultimately exists is mind and ideas. But one still wants to make room for the possibility of existing things which are supposed to be mind if you're an idealist. One wants to make a case for the existence of what? Things, ideas, independently of the mind that knows it. That's John Locke. Whilst our friend, where is the other gentleman? Berkeley says, well, if we really want to stay at the same position that what really exists, it's not a material substance that you can break down. You can remold the pot. The designer, the ultimate designer, has the idea of what he is molding, even before he starts getting the clay and looking for the wheel and hitting the clay and hitting and mixing some colors of clay. Those are the material aspects. But the real thing that the ultimate designer has in mind, you have no clue. When you go and people are preparing abenkwaye, palm soup, the typical African kitchen, not the designed ones that we have with all this gas and water. You will be amazed. Prekese, pepe, kotomre, kakra age. That's a bekatikundo, eh? A little bit of everything, some money here, this, there, all over the place. But the idea, the original thing that the person has in mind, by the time all the encomiums are put together, when they display it before you with apple of it is a shelled, one of the crustaceans, small, tiny one. You will be shocked. So the idea, the reality is mind. And Locke is being warned by his colleagues, or is being engaged by his colleagues that, look, we all agree that what is really existent, the real thing is what? Ideas. And ideas don't hang on trees. Ideas don't hang on walls. Ideas are imprinted in mind. If I say it simply this way, then it helps you. Therefore, the more consistent idealist view you can have is the one that reduces reality to what? The subject who is seeing it. So that I may be the one seeing, you may also be seeing, she may also be seeing. So reality is what? Always dependent on what? A knowing mind. I think that when you advance, some will say, oh, it doesn't necessarily mean my mind. But I may not be saying it, but there has to be another mind that sustains the things in reality. So if there is no mind at all, no conscious engagement of something, I think cannot even exist at all. Really speaking, reality. I think you get it now. Therefore, for our friend George Berkeley, to be is to be perceived, quote unquote. To be, to exist, is to be perceived. If it is not perceived, then it does not exist. Because perception will leave the thing that suppose reality in a mind. Any questions? Any questions? Okay. Let's move on to the next slide. Very heavy, but someone read. Devlin, you were reading. Please read a little bit more for me. Locke's philosophy summarized.
I have to go now. My battery is really light off in my area. So I have to.
Sorry about that. Then possibly that's why some people are not here. It's cool. We are recording, so we hope to send it to you. Okay. All right.
Okay, thank you.
Geshen, your hand is up. You want to read for us, or you have a question or a concern? Go ahead.
Madam, it's a question.
Go ahead, sir.
Madam, I want to know if there is an ultimate reality in an experience.
I don't understand the question.
Like,
clarify.
Okay, let's say if somebody has an experience on in something.
Yes.
Like, is that supposed to happen based on the on mind, the mind theory according to the idealist?
If I get your question, are you asking that the true nature of something, does it depend on the perceiving mind? So if I see the table to be red and you see it to be green, then everybody should take their own. Is that a kind of question you're asking?
Some sort. Yeah, madam.
Please ask your question well. So you want to know if there is the true reality of something?
Yes, the true reality of something.
We'll engage Russell. Let's engage Russell. Yes, let's engage Russell in our topic after this one, and then it will be more explicit.
Okay, madam.
Hello, Doc.
It doesn't seem that we can have that. We can have supposedly an agreed view of that reality, but its true nature, we may never know. There's Russell's text. Okay, so when we engage Russell, especially with a physical object, what we call a physical, not a state of being, but a physical object, table, chair, we may not have the true nature of it after all. We will think about it when we engage Russell. That's the next topic after this. All right?
Hello, Doc.
Yes, please.
Doc, please. I'm just bringing out a submission. Doc, please. Don't you think because John Locke is an empiricist, that's why he's interpreting Plato's idea about reality and appearance using his primary qualities? Because although, let's say, Locke actually is an idealist, his theory, or let me say, the objective idealism seems to, let me say, differ from the idea of idealist, that everything is reducible to mind and its idea.
I'm sorry to interrupt you. Does he want to be idealist or not? That's the question. You say I am a philosophy student, but what I'm doing in the university, I'm not doing philosophy because I come from. So, Charlie, are you idealist or not? So if you're idealist, idealism is answering the question of metaphysics, the question of reality, not epistemology, not how do we know it. So whether he's empiricist or rationalist doesn't come in when we are discussing the position we think the person holds about metaphysics. Metaphysics is talking about what really exists, reality, question of existence. Whilst epistemology is answering the question of how we know what we know. Okay, so we come to know through our senses. It's what the empiricist guy like Locke wants to subscribe to, which is fine. But when you subscribe to that, and because you want to have a consistent view over there, you come and you join our bandwagon for idealists. And you want to insist that there can be ultimate reality, which is not mind. In other words, you can have some reality out there, even without a mind that knows it. How then do you become an idealist? Because ideas are the reality, and they should be inside minds, in simple terms. So if there isn't any mind, to observe, then how do you establish the reality of the thing as an idealist? It's a simple question. Okay. You see that Bishop Beckley will say sometimes we may not have human mind. So if it's a forest far away someplace, a human mind may not see it, but there's an ultimate mind that sees it. So that armed robbery that occurred that day, no human being perhaps saw it, and therefore we have investigated. But Bishop Beckley says the reality of it, that someone caused it. Suppose, I don't want a very sensitive issue, but Sexy Don's case in Ghana here, that he keeps shifting goalposts, we are told. Someone might have caused that death. And that is known in their mind. But we cannot tell from where we sit whether it is a human mind or only God knows who did it. As far as we can relate to an ultimate mind that knows all things, that reality will exist, that someone will know what really happened that day in the mind of that person. It exists. So it doesn't have to be my knowing of it or Jude's knowing of it, but it must be known in the mind for it to exist. To be is to be perceived. That is what Beckley's subjective idealism properly interpreted would mean. Not necessarily the subject you or the subject me. So you can critique him that if he reduces the reality of that object to a specific person, me, then it will be solipsism. If I'm not there, there is nothing. Okay, but if you just reduce it to a knowing mind, then he will also be confronted with the problem of other mind, and so on and so forth. Let's go slow. So we will read Locke's philosophy summarized. Read it quickly, please. Deborah, read for me, please.
Hello.
Read it, we can hear you, Deborah.
Okay. Said Locke's philosophy summary. Said beliefs in substance.
Beliefs in substances.
Yes.
I got two Deborah there. A. And there's trouble.
Yes, please.
One of you should read for me then. Then one will keep quiet. Afterwards, another one can. Okay. So one of you should read. I can't see your saying.
Please read it.
The one who just spoke, please
Deborah
read.
Dakwa.
Deborah Dakwa, read for me. Thank you.
Beliefs in substances. Like this card.
Hey, don't say this card. Hey, sister, don't say this card. Descartes is a French guy. Okay.
Like
today, E-A-Y, today, day, then car that you drive. So Descartes, the car. We don't like Descartes. Yes, please.
Like Descartes, John Locke believed that there is an underlying something which upholds the physical qualities and sensible things such as size, shape, color, position, sound, and movement, and an underlying something which upholds intellectual activities such as thinking, willing, denying, and doubting.
Well done. Thank you very much. So Locke, the starting point of Locke is like Descartes, even though Locke is empiricist and Descartes is what? Rationalist when it comes to their epistemology. But their starting point is the same. They believe in the duality of two substances. They both believe that there is something that underlies mental qualities and what? Intellectual qualities or activities. So they believe in what? The duality of substance. Remember, mind-body problem. Then see Locke. Locke also believing in what? In two substances. That's the first point. Please read. My second, Deborah, please read for me. Quick. We have to run down.
Hello.
Yes, please.
Okay. Said Locke to back the knower and the known.
Very good. The knower is the one who is sensing, perceiving, And then the known is that which you are perceiving. So if I'm seeing a table, the person will be the mind, the knower. Not knowers, N-O-A-H, no, but the knower, the one who knows. And then the thing that I'm perceiving will be that which is what known. And when I perceive, the idealist says, I only gather what? Ideas. Now let's see Locke's view. Read, please.
Okay. Locke believes that two main things are involved in the act of knowing.
That is under
That's
the
the
topic
knower.
Epistemological Dualist. It's up there.
Okay.
He's labeled as an epistemological dualist. Look at the first one. Locke believes in the language of substance, that there are two substances, mind and matter. Mind underlining intellectual activities such as thinking, willing, denying, doubting. Remember Descartes, affirming, doubt, etc. That's mind. It's the substance that upholds that state. Then matter is what? The substance, body, that upholds qualities such as size, shape, position, etc., etc. We know that from Descartes. So Locke starts from there. He believes in the language of what? Substance. Then two is what my second lady is reading for me. Epistemological dualist. He's labeled as what? An epistemological dualist. When it comes to knowing, epistemology, knowledge, he believes in two aspects of that process. The knower, the one doing the knowing, and then the known, that which is being known. Really, read it, sister.
Okay. The knower and the known. So that the known has to be like mind in the mind. Physical object in the external world, just as a table for. The table itself cannot be in the mind. So the known is rather a mental representation or idea of the table. Brown, regular, smooth, flat, and four-legged, which correspond to things in the external world.
Well done. Well read. Take note. For Locke, the reason why we labeled him as such, as an objective idealist up there, and we'll have challenges with what? Consistency. As an idealist is what we are trying to project from his philosophical views. Okay, we are trying to do that. We are summarizing what Locke's philosophy looks like, so we can see why we label him as such and critique, and then how he can respond. He's an epistemological dualist. He distinguishes what is known from that which is doing the known. Okay, but ideas which correspond to the things in the external world makes us have a problem. He says that there's a difference between my idea of the designer building is in my head, then I now relate what is in my head to the physical thing out there, and they are both real. Now that is the challenge. We have a problem with that for a position of idealism. I've explained that already in the mind. The known has to be like mind. What we know must be mind. Remember, the real thing must be ideas, mental idea. And it must be in the mind, because ideas don't hang on the tree. We can't lift the table that I'm observing right now and put in my head. So if you make it a reality, we'll have a problem sustaining our idealist position. So the known for him is rather a mental representation or idea of the table. What I know is not necessarily what is out there. It represents what is out there. And we know what happens when people go and represent us at the Parliament House. I don't know whether they go and represent your view all the time. A representation of the thing out there. So if I have ideas, the question that one of your friends just asked is where we are getting to. If Locke wants to say that the ideas I gather of the thing is representing what is out there, it means Locke is telling me there is reality outside of the ideas I have except that the ideas represent it. So there are human beings outside of parliament, but the few people in parliament, they represent us and they make decisions for us and they capture what our feelings and our atmosphere and how everything is. So they are there representing us. Problem, because our ideas may not always represent the supposed reality out there. So if you say there's a reality outside of them, what we have gathered as an idea, then you are not an idealist, or you are trying to be an idealist, but you are not consistent. It means you think there is a reality independently of the mind. Okay, the third one. Please read. Go, 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 go. Anybody, please read. You have to move fast a bit, okay? So I can finish this for
Distinguishes primary and secondary sensible qualities.
Very good.
Primary quality is a quality which exists independently of perceiver.
Independently of a perceiver. Okay, let me explain that. That's quite heavy. Sensible here is not saying that a person has sense. We are speaking philosophy now. It can be sensed. You can see, touch, taste, smell, that kind of object. What you normally say physical object. But because there's a physicalist view, we want to be minded in our choice of words. So according to Locke, you can distinguish between two qualities, two ideas. Okay, those that are primary, that's his language, and those that are secondary, he's trying to make a case. And this is one of the things he holds on to that we are summarizing to help us see why we label him as an objective idealist and then critique. Now he distinguishes ideas or qualities that are primary to a physical object, a sensible object. He's distinguishing that from qualities or ideas that are what? Secondary. When we go ahead, you will see that he will label the secondary ones as those that depend on an observer before it will be there. Like sound. Last week when we were ending our lecture, I asked you, can you say a music is loud when there is no ear that we are relating that to? It should be based on someone's hearing. Then you can say the music is too loud or too low. See that it depends. But when it comes to the size of a table, perhaps whether I see it or I don't see it, it has its size. We will look into that. Okay. Look at when we say some orange is bitter, a certain orange is bitter. Can an orange, the taste of an orange, be bitter without a taster? Give me a response. I want to see the response from the class that it is bitter, but no one has tasted it.
Doc, please no.
Yeah,
if it is a question of
exactly bitterness, loudness, you see, it looks like there has to be a specific person we are relating that to make sense of that quality. So, John Locke distinguishes qualities that are primary from those that are secondary to help him say that those that are primary have independent existence without a knower, like size. Whether I see the table, I don't see it. Weight. If it is 5 kilograms, whether I carry it or I don't carry it, it is 5 kilograms. And that is how he works it out. So let's see that. Just I read, primary quality is a quality.
It will exist even if no perceiver were present. Size, position, shape, movement. A secondary quality depends for its existence.
Please read the things in the bracket. Read them. I ask you. That's why we have special students so that they can benefit at least from the discussion.
Size,
position,
shape, and movement.
So whether it is
a secondary,
hold on, whether it is a circle or not, doesn't seem to depend on me. If I'm there, the football field will be circular. If I'm not there, it will be circular. So it is not my being there that makes it circular. But as for the music, the same music that some brothers are standing by it, booging, boom, 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 cha, boom, 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 cha, and they don't see it to be loud. When a grandma is passing by and say, bring down the volume of the music, I can't sleep. The same music. For one is loud, for the other one, it's too low because it's relational. So Locke says primary qualities like size, the shape of the orange or the football field doesn't depend on a perceiver. So it's a primary quality, it's basic. While the secondary one depends for its existence on a perceiver. That means the secondary quality, this is Locke's language, which, mind you, Berkeley will not agree. He will dissolve everything into secondary. From what we have said about Berkeley, should tell you already, whether primary or secondary, for Berkeley, to be is to be perceived. If there is no perceiver, there can't be a reality as an idealist. Color, sound, texture, smooth or rough, depends on who is doing the feeling, says Uncle Locke. So you see that on secondary qualities, he won't have too much to contend with Berkeley on, because he will also insist that to be is to be perceived. What happened to my slide? Okay. Okay, so take note of the end objective. I've said some things. Our ideas resemble the quality in the object out there. Our ideas represent, resemble. I say representation. When you hear it, run. Because people who represent themselves, not us, in most cases. So when the ideas we have in our mind supposedly represent something physical out there, then we have a big problem determining the reality of the thing out there. You are saying that the thing out there is what is represented in my mind. How do I know that I've captured the true nature of it? But if you say what is out there is nothing different from what is in my mind, then we can be consistent ideas. Okay. Locke wants to eat his cake and have it. He wants to look nice before people. Doesn't want to look like you're absurd. Are you crazy? So he's trying to say, oh, I mean, there will be a reality out there, even if we haven't thought of it. But others want to be consistent with their views, even if they look crazy about it, okay? Because the real thing is what is captured in it. Before it becomes a material substance, it already exists as an idea. It is the idea that sustains it. I think we have done that. So they are relative or dependent. Which one is that? The secondary quality. For that, even Locke will agree. Great. Then this is the question we engaged, and we have repeated it. Now we want to see Bishop George Berkeley's subjective idealism. I hope that one step at a time, you are capturing what we are saying. Felix, now, do you have a question? Esther Peterson, is there a question or to read for us? If it is to read, then let's ask Felix to read, and then afterwards we can look at Esther. Felix, unmute and read for us. Felix, please read for us. If you are not ready, Esther Peterson, please read for us.
Bishop George Berkeley's subjective immaterialism, summarized as to be is to be perceived. Notice that Locke will agree with this for secondary sensory qualities, but not for primary sensory qualities. Berkeley means this for all qualities.
Great. Sorry about that. I had to drink water. So when we talk about to be is to be perceived, that is the Latin, I think. So those who do Latin, S A perceive, yeah. To be is to be perceived. If you are, then if something exists, then it must have been what perceived. If it hasn't been perceived, then it cannot exist. And your friend just told you they will agree on this if it comes to secondary qualities. He and Uncle Locke. But when it comes to the so-called primary qualities of Locke, our friend here will have a big issue with him. Continue, sister. I think you read well. Continue. Esther.
Subjective idealism. Berkeley's subjective idealism. Everything is dependent for its existence upon perception, and apart from a perceiving or knowing subject, nothing exists. So, in the absence of a perceiver, not only the tree's sound, color, taste, or extra would cease to exist, but also its shape, motion, the sand, mountains, and the entire island will cease to exist.
Excellently read. Nothing to add. It's a straightforward thing. Uncle Beckley says, without a perceiving mind, there cannot be any reality, whether you want to call it primary or secondary. The qualities that, or the ideas that come together to create a supposed thing must be in a mind. So whether it is the size, shape, or texture, or weight, or etc., you can't demarcate between the two and say, oh, those that are secondary, maybe it has to depend on the knowing mind. But the primary ones, even if we are not there, no exist. Think of it, why Locke would have done that. Okay? So that you say, as for the shape of the orange, I don't have to see it for the orange to have its shape. It has its shape, whether we see it or not, whether we touch it or not. If it is a circular orange, it will be a circular orange, regardless of perception. That looks very, very, it looks like it's a good argument until you hear Beckley trash down all the arguments. I think he does a good job. But whether he leaves us with something to go home with is another question. So if someone knocks on my door, then why is it that when you are entering your door, don't just walk through the door and go and sit down? After all, doors are ideas. If they are ideas, then you should sail through the ideas and walk. There are things sitting there. If you try to walk through it, you will hit your head against the door. See? Anyway, read on. Yeah, my sister, read the next line.
Everything is dependent for its existence upon perceiving or knowing subjects. Nothing exists. So in the what do I do? Doc, please, should I?
Please read it. Some sister B has.
Berkeley's points. What is immediately into bracket directly perceived are ideas of a supposed table, not the table itself. And ideas cannot exist without the mind. The existence of ideas therefore consists in their being perceived in some mind. To exist, then, is to be perceived, into bracket sense. When perceived in a mind, then it exists.
Beat me up. I'm so sorry. So I they'll beat me up. What is immediately or directly perceived are ideas of a supposed table. Thank you, my sister. They are the ideas, not the table itself. And ideas cannot exist without a mind. I've said that, and our sister read it. The existence of ideas therefore consists in their being perceived. Simple. Ideas don't hang in the air, like I said earlier. So to be, that is to exist, is to have been sensed. When perceived in a mind, then it exists. The mind may not necessarily be mine, but it has to be in someone's mind for it to exist. Simple. Very good. Felix, now I think you want to read, or someone else wants to help us. If not, Esther is reading well, so she will continue and get all the marks. Felix, are you there? Now continue for us. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Berkeley's 5 proofs. Advantages of his theory. Proof 1. Overcomes problems of dualism. Overcomes metaphysical mind-body problem. Since for him there is only one reality, mind and its ideas. Overcomes epistemological problem of dualism. How immaterial minds can know material objects is physical world, such as tables. Since for him reality is ideas, which is same as mind.
Very good. So the reason why for the idealist position, I like your outfit, so nice. The fact that he is an idealist, he tells his colleague, look, that I think that I have some advantages if I hold the position I hold that you are not able to have. That is what he calls the proofs, not proofs as in they cannot be false. Because normally if we hear proof, we are thinking of deductions. Okay. But he's talking about advantages, if you like, that his position as an idealist, a subjective idealist, would have over the objective idealism of John Locke. The first one is he doesn't have to prove how, remember mind-body problem, he doesn't have to do that extra work. There wouldn't be two ultimate realities. And so there wouldn't be the need to show how they are causally connected. That one we have seen already. I could ask you with illustrations, or better still, to show, make a case to show why Berkeley's 5 proofs make his idealism a more consistent view than Locke's, or vice versa, and why. So you should remember this. Then I think he also overcomes the epistemological problem of dualism, how immaterial minds can know material objects in the physical world, such as a table. Since for him, reality is ideas, which is the same as what mind. So the question of representation, which we see in Locke, doesn't come in at all. He doesn't need to carry the table and put it in his mind. What exists is what? The idea of a table. That is what exists. The physical table is not a reality. It is there, but it is not a reality. It's not a substance. But Locke has a challenge because Locke admits that there are 2 substances, just like Descartes. Okay. Berkeley thinks there is only 1 substance. So the idea of it is what exists, but the thing itself there is not a substance. In other words, not a reality by his language. So he overcomes that also. The third one, still on the proof 1, the various versions of the proof 1, but cut out in a way that you see how he overcomes the first problem that arises from assuming 2 substances versus assuming just 1 substance. Please continue, lady.
No need for him to answer the question addressed to Locke that how do we know if our ideas of the table truly represent or correspond to the table Locke claims exist in the external world?
Very good.
For Berkeley, there's no difference between our ideas and reality. External world. To be is to be perceived.
Yes, exactly, ma. I think you got it. Now, Berkeley's proof 2, the second proof. Who is reading? I think you are reading very well. Did you just drink water or something? Your vim has come, Basa. Who is it? Mention your name.
Berkeley's proof 2.
Hey, are you Berkeley? Miss Ma. Okay, Angela Poko, be on standby. You read after. Nah. Yes, please, my dear.
Berkeley's proof 2. Matter rendered a meaningless idea, inconsistent with the idealist view of reality.
So the whole point of just a minute. So the whole point of this proof is that Berkeley believes that if you take his position of idealism, the subjective idealist view of to be is to be perceived, then the question of matter, material substance, doesn't come up. So we make the idea of matter what? A meaningless substance. You don't have to be concerned about what matter is, because it will not be a substance. Okay, we can hold a bottle, take a phone, whatever, but they are not real. Remember Plato. You see, when you link all of the discussions together, you see the point. The same car riding on the road, the next minute it can become ashes. Bent totally. You'll be looking for the car, you won't find it. But the idea of a car, the model, the one that created it, will still have the idea in mind, can create a new one. But the physical car on the street, the next minute after accident, you will recognize it cry. That is, we are dealing with some major things that we just use table, chair, bottle. to make the point. Then when we get the discussion, then we can now put in some flesh. Are you sure you recognize Ukraine, the cities that have been left deserted? A month ago, you wouldn't have thought that that is how the city is, a physical city. Okay, so the reality for the idealist is not the physical substance, material substance, okay? The mind, mental, in other words, the non-physical substance is real. So if you, according to Berkeley, if you take his view of what reality is, the subjective idealist view, you won't have to think about how to make a case for material substance, because there won't be material substance. When the lady read the topic, you see what she read after to be perceived in brackets, she said immaterialism. Immaterialism. It means the opposite of what? Materialism. No materialism here as liking worldly things. Matter. So he doesn't want us to think of matter as a reality, a substance. Only mind. Good. So matter will be rendered meaningless. You just read over and return to that. We have just 2 more slides to go. Okay. Finish hard. Sister, go.
It won't make meaning to talk of matter, since an idealist which exists is mind and ideas, which are non-material. Matter, such as table, is not an idea, so cannot be perceived, therefore cannot be, that is, cannot exist. We cannot know or talk about something, underlying qualities, which we have no idea of.
Very good.
To be is to be perceived.
Simplicity. So what we can think of, in other words, what we can conceive is what? The idea of a table, but not the physical table out there. So the physical table out there is not real. We have said all of that. We cannot know or talk about something which underlies something. What is, in other words, which upholds something, the substance called matter. No. But they admit the substance called mind. Mind, a substance called mind, and its ideas. That's idealism. The third proof. I hope you remember the proofs. Let me see if I can quickly. The first one is what? Proof 1. He overcomes the problem of what? Metaphysical dualism, as well as epistemological dualism. The metaphysical one is the one you know. He doesn't need to answer the question of how mind and body are causally connected. Then the epistemological one, he doesn't have to show how our ideas supposedly capture what? Some reality out there, which is not ideas. He doesn't have to answer that question. Why? Because what is real will be what is in the mind, the ideas, not some physical substance outside. An extension of that is proof number 2. He will not have to deal with the question of matter as a substance. Remember. Why? Because what exists are ideas. It's closely connected with the earlier one. It's a build-up on it. Okay. So matter is rendered what? Meaningless. There isn't material substance. If there is matter, it's not a substance. It's not real. So the car is working. The next minute it can be ashes. The next minute we can use it as manure to grow our even human beings. Without the substance in us, we are nothing. If you like it, that house build, that's a, what's the name of that? Story building that you people are fighting over. Tell the people that are fighting over it. Story building. The day one brother's soul leaves the body, that container, the physical body, material part of human being, it will be thrown out to if like someone should get COVID, God forbid, I'm referring to some 2 families fighting over story building house that some grandpa built. Even that grandpa is dead and gone. You're fighting over it. The day one of you falls down too, and the soul, the substantial part of you, the part that matters, leaves. The container called body, which is material, we will lift it up and go and dig. Some people don't even get a good burial. Mobile, dig it and put that body inside and cover it. Whether you were the chief or the messenger, you will enter 6 feet. Because that material part of it is nothing. It's not real. All right. Sister, read proof number 3. Proof number 3.
Doc, please, can I read?
Yes, so I said,
Beckley's
please, yes, please read that for me.
The unexperienced as inconceivable. You cannot
What?
conceive something which you have not experienced.
Simplicity.
Just before.
That is the whole point. If you haven't experienced it, how can you even conceive of it? Experience here meaning in your 5 senses, not the physical. Your mind must be able to picture. He will explain it. I suppose I put that in the slides also. If not, then when you read the text, you see it. I can picture a brother. I'm talking about the sister who is looking for an ideal guy. My ideal guy should have biceps. He must have a 4-wheel drive that can also fly. This is what I'm doing. He must have a tail. This one. So all the picturing that is going on in my mind is experiential. That is the point he's making. If it hasn't been conceived before, if it haven't been experienced, it's difficult to conceptualize it. Look, the thing might not be actualized. Maybe you are thinking of a horse that can fly, that can walk, not just on its 4 legs, but can also stand. So you are conceptualizing a caricature kind of a being, you see. But you can only capture what you are thinking in an experiential language. If it is not something that we can experience, you can't even create it, no matter how weird it is. When you go to the book of Revelations in the Bible, you can read something like, I saw the 4 living creature. It had 4 faces. I mean, one side of the face is like a lion, the other side is like an ox, and this one is like that, and this is like that. And the whole thing doesn't look like something that we have ever experienced directly. But the point Beckley is making is, when he says it has 4 faces, you can experience it in your mind before you create it. You can picture the right side being what? A lion's face, then the left being, it's difficult to create because it's not directly actualized. But in your mind's eye, you have to have experienced horse, lion, human face, eagle's toes, whatever, before you can put them together to create that humorous being that our friend says he saw in his visions. If you haven't experienced something, it is even difficult to conceptualize, conceive it in your mind. That's the point Beckley makes. Sister, read it again, over from top to the end.
The unexperienced as inconceivable. You cannot conceive something which you have not experienced. Just before you conceive of any such, you would have already experienced its various qualities.
Very good.
You will have to experience it to be able to conceive it all. You
That
will
is
have
the
to
point.
experience it to be able to conceive it at all. That is the point.
That is the point. You should have experienced it even in your mind. I say lion and the tail is an alligator and the stomach looks like a butterfly. Meanwhile, it doesn't fly, but it walks. And then it has all those things I'm saying that may not be actually what happens on the end. Even in conceiving it, it should be something that is experienceable to make sense. Otherwise, you won't even be able to understand what I'm saying. So Beckley's 3rd proof is that that which hasn't been experienced at all cannot even be conceived. The 4th proof. Should sister continue reading, or Angela is ready to read for us? If not, let her read then, so that we can finish. We don't have to finish.
The inseparability of primary and secondary qualities.
I think we did that together. So just read through for folks to get it. He doesn't think that the advantage. Yeah. I have shut up. Read, my dear.
Berkeley thinks that both primary and secondary qualities cannot be separated from each other. You cannot talk about the taste of a shapeless, sizeless orange, for example. So
you cannot talk of,
qualities,
just a minute. So you cannot talk of a tasteless or sizeless, textureless orange. You see, they come together. Locke wants to say that we can have the shape and the size. Meanwhile, we wouldn't have tasted it or wouldn't have felt it. But can we have an orange that has a shape and a texture, but doesn't come with a taste or doesn't come with, what's the thing? A texture. You see, they come as a package. The ones you call primary and the ones you call secondary depend on each other for the object to be what it is. So there's no need to try to separate qualities and say that some of the qualities can exist even without a knowing mind, whilst others cannot exist without a knowing mind. That's the point. So both types of qualities are bound up together, therefore subjective. It doesn't distinguish the subjective from the objective qualities. Last slide. And Jadwa, well done. You get 2 marks here. Berkeley's field proof.
The relativity of all qualities. Here, the point is that primary qualities are not objective, after all, as presumed by Locke. Consider
are not objective after all, as presumed by Locke. So what we thought were even primary qualities in input. Not, you see, the point is that in the fifth proof, our friend's argument is they are bound up together. That is the point he's making in proof number 4. They are joined together. You can't have one without the other. That's the whole point. So they are inseparable, but and therefore subjective. But the fifth point even makes a stronger case that what you even call primary, who told you that they can exist without a knowing mind? The shape and size. If I say the table I am observing right now is a rectangular table, it is because of where I'm seated. If someone is sitting at another angle, he will see an obtuse angle. The color, you might say that the color, the object has its color, whether I'm watching or not watching. Well, hold on. It depends on which angle I'm sitting. If the sun's reflection is falling on the table where I'm sitting, I may be seeing it brown. The other person will see the same table cream. Sometimes even worse off. So the color, the size, I asked you last time, well, I think when we're ending, that if I wrote M, capital M on the floor, depending on which position you are standing, capital M is, the shape is down there, it's a shape. Per Locke's distinction, shapes should be primary qualities. So you shouldn't depend on the observer. But the last time I checked, if you stood in front of that written capital M on the floor, you will call it capital W. No, when you stand in front, it will be M. When I stand behind it will be W. But we thought it is a shape, so shapes shouldn't be dependent on the perceiver. Berkeley's argument is even the shape, the size, the texture. As for texture and the others, it's not in contention. The shape, the type, yes, the shape, the size, the angle, etc., are all dependent on what? The perceiver's relation to the object. So that W or 9, capital 9, that's capital 9 on the floor. For the one in front, it will be 6. For the other one behind it will be 9. Who is right and who is wrong? So was it objectively independent of the observer after all? No. That's his fifth point, very strong point. That what primary qualities are not objective after all, as presumed by Locke. Sister, that is the last paragraph. Read it. Well done, well done.
Consider the shape of the top of the table from different angles of the class. You think it's a rectangle, you call it rectangle, but do you actually directly perceive a rectangle? All qualities then are ideas in the mind of the perceiver and are relative. We will see this in our discussion of Russell.
Very good. So our next, yes, it's Russell. Their names are wonderful. The one we have mentioned all this while is Berkeley, even though it's spelled Berkeley. It's pronounced back to the dog, back, yes. Then the one we are going to do, we call him Russell, Russell. He will now take the table alone and engage a very intricate, very, very, very expanding argument that I think will buttress Berkeley's point, only for him to show that, well, so Berkeley, I agree with you that everything is ultimately tied to a knowing mind. But can we just agree that we have to live in a world that we didn't create? So we have to assume that perhaps from my angle, I see the table to be brown and you see it too. But when we shift around and shift around and shift around, can we agree on a certain relatively objective point of view, knowing very well that we may be wrong after all? If we can, then let's work with that and assume that it's a rectangular table. It will only be an assumption. So he agrees with Beck. After we go through that paper, you'll see the point. He will go through and through and through and show why there seems to be some case being made by the strictly idealist view, like Berkeley's. And then now he will make a proposal. But if we will continue insisting on the true nature of the thing, can we ever know it? We may never know the true nature of the real table. So can't we have an objectively agreed point of view for now until proven otherwise? Just so we can survive in a world we didn't create. That's the point of Russell's paper. But he will now delve into it to answer the question our friend asked. Do things have a true nature? They may have a true nature, but do we know it? Anytime we know, it will be tied to a knowing mind, friends. That is how one Bible, how come one Bible is seen and interpreted differently. One Bible. Yidiokoko, tutu, Saturday, Sunday, Friday evening. Wear dress, don't wear dress. Cover your hair, don't cover. Wear TV, wear earrings, watch TV. Charlie, one Bible. Because the knowing, the reality may be there, but knowing is always connected to a knowing mind. You have to go and read the Russell paper, Reality versus Appearance, Russell's view. That is a very accessible paper. The full text is a PDF all over the place. I'll check mine and see if it's there. I'll upload it on Sakai. Read, and it's not very heavy text. It's just straightforward. You read it for our engagement. Any questions for today? We are so done. We took a lot of time, but we have done it very well. You should know the 5 proofs that our friend, when he says proofs, his argument and why he thinks they are stronger, okay, which he has against Locke's own, then we should be able to see what Locke's views are and whether they are a consistent idealist view and why idealism after all, and applied in everyday life. Felix, is it a question? Your hand is still up. Felix, now. Devlin, is there a question you have? Please ask. We have just about a minute or so left. Is there a question?
Yes, please.
Go ahead.
Because I wanted to. You said we should read on Russell's. I didn't get.
That's the next topic.
The
you have the course outline.
Yes.
Yes. So it's the second topic. Oh, that is not what is there. That is what is there, please. So the second topic.
Okay, thank you.
Want me to mention it? If you check the course outline, we are working strictly with it. If we have to change, I'll let you know. But it's strictly that. And I was saying that I have the text. It's online, so it's not something that will raise copyright issues for us. I could just pull it in and then upload it for you if I find it immediately for our next discussion. That one will be done in just one meeting session. So you have to read well so that we don't waste too much time on it, like we have done for this. Though this one is 2-in-1, we did the mind-body problem, and then we also looked at the idealist view proper. Okay, so yeah, our next topic is yes, the problem of reality versus appearance. Russell, is what is experienced the same as what is there? And then we are reading Russell's the problems of philosophy, chapter 2. Thank you very much. Have a wonderful afternoon. I'll work at uploading this immediately. I'll work at that. I'm very tired, but I'll work on that for the benefit of those who legitimately couldn't be. But tell your colleagues that I may stop uploading the recordings if folks will not attend lectures. Thank you very much and have a good afternoon. Take care.